Welcome to a brand new episode of Sequel Rights, the podcast where we take a look at the franchises that make you go, they made how many of those? And we give each and every sequel a fair trial. My name is Justin Camps, and I'm here with
Elizabeth Helly
and
Tyler Hymanson.
And we are here with a real Christmas movie this week. Finally.
That was actually my Christmas wish.
It came true.
Yeah.
Well, we are here talking Jingle all the way this week. We're done with A Christmas Wish, and we're done with the Cinderella story.
Yeah.
And we are on to something new.
Yeah, but if you want to email us anything, suggestions for 2020 franchises, you can email us sequelrights@gmail.com or find us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook at Sequel Rights.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. The reviews go a long way. We really appreciate it. Thanks.
And not only are we starting a brand new franchise right now, but we have a very special guest with us this week, you guys. Here in the studio with us is EJ de la Peña, who plays Johnny in Jingle All the Way. EJ, thanks for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. We are so excited that you were here with us.
It's a real-life child star check-in.
That's right.
Yes.
It's going to be fun.
Eliz will be giving us live updates on his life as we're here.
It's like I was able to deduce on Twitter.
It appears he's recording a podcast at this moment.
Yeah.
My goodness, they're good.
Yeah.
How did they know?
Now that's journalism.
Yeah, my phone.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more with EJ about his role in this movie, but why don't we dive right in and get started?
Every holiday season, there's one toy everyone has to have.
I want the Turbo Man action figure with the arms and legs that move, and the rocket roaring jetpack, and the boomerang shooter.
Getting it is every child's dream.
Whoever doesn't can be a real loser.
Finding it
You got the doll, right?
is this father's nightmare.
I will get that toy. I promise. Whoa! Nothing like waiting until the last minute, Howitzer.
Especially on Christmas Eve.
Turbo Man, you're mine!
Oh, man. I love how they're just shamelessly using the Home Alone
Yeah, what are we with
soundtrack.
Home Alone? That was last year we watched that.
I never picked up on that.
I know.
Oh, that temp trailer music.
We were trying real hard not to laugh while the trailer was playing. It's so funny. Oh, man. Well, 1996, EJ.
Yes.
Are you having flashbacks hearing some of that dialogue?
The main thing I'm thinking of is, holy crap, it's movie guy voice.
Yeah, that's right.
It's trailer guy voice.
Bring him back.
I think he passed away.
He has passed away, unfortunately.
Bring him back.
We don't care.
Yeah.
I need the glove. What's his from Marvel? The Infinity glove?
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
It's just
snap
like,
him back.
boom.
Dig him up.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
That would be worth one of the snaps, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
Probably.
I just snap. You just see his hand come up from his
So in 1996, or probably 5 when this was filmed, how old were you then?
I remember being 8, turning 9 during filming.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So, and there was a big deal because in the industry, when you turn 9, you can work an additional hour with the child labor laws. So, like I was doing 2 movies at the time, this and Leave It to Beaver, and like both directors were so excited because they could have it worked with the schedule better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know you were already acting for a while before that.
Yes. I signed with my agent when I was 3, almost 4.
Wow.
And did my first film with Anthony Edwards and several other, Conchata Farrell and like 2 or 3 other folks who were famous or became famous afterwards.
Wow.
When I was 4.
So you were already like a seasoned pro by the time Jingle All the Way came along.
as much as you could be a seasoned pro and be 8.
You're like, I don't need to run lines. I'll be in my trailer.
Yeah, don't worry, Phil Hartman, I got this.
Are you channeling my childhood?
That's right. Yeah.
So were you like, Mom, take me to auditions, or was she just like, your parents put you into it, or you really wanted to act, or what was the deal?
It was sort of an amalgam.
Okay.
It was, so I got lucky that, okay. I'll keep moving on. I got lucky in that, there were those moments where like I needed to learn lines and I was being a bratty, snotty little kid, and Mom's like, no, we're running lines.
Yeah.
It was mostly my mom who was the one. Dad was out busy being a doctor.
Okay.
So yeah, there were those moments, and it was definitely Mom who got me into it because I was like 2.5 when she started the process. And they actually did a couple of tests to like see if I was someone who was amenable to this. So, okay, do you actually want to hear the actual story of like why my mom decided to get me into acting?
Yeah.
Yes.
Sure.
Okay, so I was born in Manhattan, where my dad was doing his residency. They were from out here, but that's where he ended up for his residency.
Okay.
Which is how we ended up back here. In Southern California, for those listening outside of here. It was it would have been, the 1990 election.
Okay.
No.
92?
No, 88.
88.
It would have been the 88 election.
Okay.
So I'm like a year and a half old or what have you. And we went and saw Dukakis, who was the Democratic candidate, running against Daddy Bush, speak. And there was a little box in our apartment, and I would get up on that box and mimic Dukakis. And between that and like everyone telling my mom that she should get me in acting because I as I'm sure doesn't show now because I'm such a meek and mild person, a very gregarious personality, and very outgoing, telling her that she should get me into acting. She started that process. And how did I get on this? You asked me a question. I'm sorry. Did I answer?
No, that was the question. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then, how did Jingle All the Way come around?
Honestly, I don't remember.
Okay.
It was a quarter century ago. The first thing I really do remember, because it was one of those things where you're constantly going on auditions.
Yeah.
2-3 a day. We're driving every day from, that was when we lived in Highland.
Yeah.
In the Inland Empire. 2 hours a day each way, plus driving around town, plus meals. So I grew up in a car.
Oh, man.
And the first thing I remember today about Jingle was the table reading after I already had the job.
Okay.
And one of the big reasons I remember that is, I don't know if you guys remember around that time, Arnold was doing a lot of fitness campaigning stuff, right?
Yeah.
Presidential Council of Fitness and all that kind of stuff. And it was the first time I met him. So I was like, oh, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he's smoking a cigar, as he's famous for doing. But I was a kid, and I'm like, but smoking's not healthy, and you're the healthy guy. What is going on here? My world is shattered. But yes, so that's kind of my early memories of the project, or beginning of my memories.
That's awesome.
When you get exposed to like the production side of things that early, like when you were growing up, were you still able to just like enjoy movies for being movies, or were you just like, you had already seen how the sausage was made at that point?
That didn't really come later for me until my early to mid 20s. When I started learning production, and started getting tangled up in all the wonderful, wonderful politics this industry has to offer. As a kid, I absolutely adored movies. Had absolutely no problem becoming lost in those worlds, especially like I'm a huge sci-fi nut. So getting please give me another Star Trek movie. So on and so forth. So that wasn't really a problem when I was a kid. There was some interesting differences between me and my peers where, I would have a little more insight, but it wasn't like you were saying, I knew how the sausage was made.
Right.
What actually about this topic, one of my favorite sayings is from Inherit the Wind. Where at the end, the monkey scopes trial is what that's about, and theory of evolution and teaching it in schools. And it ends with this great line: "You can learn the secret of flight, but the birds will forever lose their wonder." So anyway, that's my another long diatribe. Feel free to cut me off if I'm going too long.
No, it's great.
Well, on the other side of this, I remember going to see this movie for my buddy Drew's birthday, and we were very excited for an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that we could watch in theaters.
Predator is PG.
Yeah, Predator. I was random tangent. I was sitting at a hockey game and they used like the thing from Predator where Arnold's screaming as like a get the crowd ready type thing, and my brother's like, I've never seen this movie, and I'm like, I'm going to shake you until you the full plot of Predator pops into your brain.
Yeah, I was having fun watching this movie because I feel like I saw it when it came out as a kid as well, and haven't seen it since then, really. Yeah. So there were so many things in this movie that, like, for me, in my mind, I was like, okay, I remember him fighting, with Sinbad in the toy store, and then I remember the big parade sequence at the end. Okay. There's all this stuff in the middle parts of the movie, and like the existence of Phil Hartman's character and what's going on with him that like went over my head, and I do not remember.
Yeah.
Right?
I was like, wait, Phil Hartman's character is trying to sleep with all the moms in the neighborhood?
Phil Hartman's character is trying to sleep with Tom Hanks' wife?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
She is the nicest person, by the way.
Really?
That makes me happy and also does not surprise me.
I know.
So I feel bad because I actually never saw this movie until today.
Oh, no.
And I've known EJ since he lived in Highland next door to my dear family friends, practically my cousins, the Golays. And so we met in the cul-de-sac, all of us playing in the front yard. They have 4 kids, and you have a sister and I have a brother. And so we were all there on the holidays or whatever. And then you moved away and we never heard from you, and then all of a sudden you showed up at my high school, which is in a completely different town 2 hours away, and it was just the weirdest coincidence, and our families were like, oh my God, I remember you from like 10 years ago. So I feel bad because I did not go and see the movie that you were in. I did see Leave It to Beaver, I had seen before, but this movie I'd always known about it because everyone knew you as the kid from Jingle All the Way, like, or, oh, he's famous, he's an actor, or whatever,
I'd love to talk to you about that sometime because it's always like, I was just me. Like,
yeah. Well, of course, once we got to know you, but first it was like, oh, that guy's been in movies or whatever. But once you had classes,
Arnold Schwarzenegger's always calling him on the phone.
Yeah,
totally.
He asked you for advice when he was governor. Right?
Yeah, it was you.
Listen to me.
So anyways, but yes, I watched this movie today. So now I know more of your history.
Crazy.
I don't know if I could talk to you now.
I know.
Goodness, our friendship was contingent on that.
Such a bad friend. Anyways, so this movie totally starts with like Power Rangers.
Yeah, I was like, it's a scene of Turbo, a Power Rangers movie. But actually just
At
Turbo
Vasquez
Man.
Rocks, same thing where Power Rangers and Star Trek and everything else was filmed. You can clearly tell.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah, that was Vasquez Rocks.
That's probably why, like, as a kid, I identified with this movie, and probably my parents too, because of the whole Power Rangers craze.
Yeah.
And I know my parents were always out there getting those toys for me. So
Was there like a crazy Power Rangers toy? Like I feel like it was like Cabbage Patch Kids and Tickle Me Elmo's. Like I don't remember like an actual action
Zords?
figure.
oh yeah,
Zords, maybe.
yeah.
those.
The
Yeah.
original Power Rangers figures were hard to get, I think.
Yeah, okay.
And the Megazords and stuff.
Yeah.
Those things sold out fast. But if you're talking about like Furbies too and stuff like that,
Furbies.
Tamagotchi,
Oh my God.
stuff.
Yeah, it was really. I read in the trivia for this movie that they wrote it kind of inspired by Cabbage Patch, but then the Tickle Me Elmo thing happened the same year the movie was coming out, so it was like a total cultural moment.
There's a part in this movie where Sinbad chokes a woman.
Oh my God,
That's true.
I wrote that down. I was like, Sinbad chokes a woman. That's literally like.
And there's
my
like a
exact
million
words.
people around, and they're just like, "What?"
Oh, well.
Yeah, this movie was totally written a quarter century ago.
It really was. There's a lot of moments that are like
That aged
really-
poorly.
Yeah, aged really poorly. I mean, the central idea is still there, but you know.
You mean the part where Arnold Schwarzenegger punches a deer and then gets it drunk?
Yes. There's also that.
That scene, yeah, I don't know what's going on.
Wait, now
in
have you
that
ever
part.
done that before?
Oh yeah, no.
No. We kind of wanted to punch that deer from Santa Claus 3 or whatever.
Yeah, Chet.
The disabled.
Oh my god.
That was the first Christmas series we did, so we're on year 3 now. But yeah, Arnold drives in the emergency lane. That's bad. Don't ever do that.
He does that.
Oh man, the beginning of this movie is really funny. He's like, "I'm going to make it to my friend's party." I mean, not my kid's karate.
I'm gonna make it to the karate. And then like what I guess what's happening is that his furniture store is having its Christmas party, and I think what they're trying to show is that he's such a hard worker that he's working even during the Christmas party.
Yeah.
But it makes it look like that he is not very high up at this company.
I mean, I did kind of chuckle when he accidentally said to his wife, like, "You're my best customer," or whatever.
You're my number one customer.
Yeah.
Oh, and then
wait,
he's like,
sorry.
shit! Oh, damn it! But I love like he's like, "I'm gonna make it to my son's thing." I'll probably be doing terrible Arnold Schwarzenegger's voices the entire time. So
Okay.
prep yourself.
Fair enough.
Put the accent away now.
But there's a series of things that happen to him that I'm like, what? I like when he gets on the freeway and he's like, oh my God, where's this traffic coming from? Like,
Yeah.
And we learn that it's like almost Christmas, so it's going to be busy traffic.
And
then
rush hour.
And then, the whole time he's like, I'm going to make it. And then, we see the scene of the karate thing happening and it's clearly over. But somehow the school that it was at is still open for him to go inside the school.
Classic 90s scene of janitor mopping up.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah,
That was the
I
same
just
janitor from
no,
Twin Peaks.
Oh no, I missed it.
Yeah. Like, the doors aren't locked. That guy would not be able to get in and be like, oh, look, it's done.
You're saying that Arnold Schwarzenegger can't get into an elementary school?
Not,
Also, like,
not in
don't you
this
think
movie.
the fact that there were no cars and no people around would have clued him into that it was already over a
I
long
know.
time ago?
He would have known that he way missed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a little slow in this movie, I think.
So the event that he's trying to make it to is
Yes.
his son's getting his purple belt.
Yes.
Yeah. And this is the first time I think we see EJ.
Is it
Right?
the first time? Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
I think so. I think so
too, yeah.
And fun fact, I actually was getting my purple belt in real life.
Oh, what?
So you're saying you know karate?
Right.
Well, I demonstrate it, but it's radio.
We don't want to get hurt here.
It's an audio medium.
Are you sure? I'll go.
So this is also where we are introduced to Phil Hartman as your dad in this movie. So what was that like working with him?
Phil was amazing. He was just a really awesome, fun guy. Almost what you'd expect. Like, from someone who was on SNL and all that. And I went into it not knowing anything about it.
Sure.
Like, I was 8, and really understanding, how big of a personality he was and his body of work and all that really came later. But one thing that'll always stick in my head is, and I think we were talking about it earlier when he, in that car scene where he hits on Rita. Yeah. And, prior to that, Jake and I were in the back seat. Can we go? And then, of course, maybe this really was like a nicer time in the 90s where they just let the kids go with the crowd. But, yeah. So, and then we go out. Well, that scene first off, it's summer on the Universal Studios back lot, the clock tower from Back to the Future. That set, only just different angles, so you don't see the clock tower. In a hot car, 90-degree weather, in winter gear.
Yeah.
Clearly not winter in Minnesota.
Yes.
Yeah, right.
Yes. And they had to keep shooting it from different angles. You'll see in the movie. It's like on them, on us, different angles on each, all that kind of stuff. And so we were in that car for hours and hours, and Phil kept us entertained. Aww. He would tell jokes. He would sing songs. Like some of what I remember to this day, like singing songs and all that kind of stuff. You want to hear that song?
Yes.
Okay. Hopefully I'm remembering it right and doing him justice, but it was, You make my butt shine, you make my butt shine. The more you lick it, the more it shines. The clock is ticking, so keep on licking. Oh, how you make my buttocks shine.
Oh my God.
That was the stuff that he would do to keep us entertained.
And
It
so
was
as
awesome.
8-year-old boys, you were probably just over the moon. Yeah. Oh
He
my
had our
God.
number.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
So that's what it was like to work with him, and it was a shame what happened to him.
Yeah.
It really was.
That makes my heart hurt. Just,
I know.
little
He's,
bit.
and he's so good in this movie, too.
Yeah, he is.
In like a role that I didn't really remember. And so every time he was on, I was like, yes. It felt like I was watching something new. I don't know. It was,
Well, and
it
it
was
kind of
great.
starts out like at the karate assembly, like the women are hitting on him, and it's not clear if he's reciprocating or what the deal really is, or if you're not sure if she's like jealous or annoyed or whatever. But then it kind of becomes clear that he's creeping on her, obviously, as the movie goes on, and pestering Arnold. But I think like he did a good job of sort of like hiding it until the appropriate time.
Yes.
And then, she hit him in the face with the thermos or whatever. Like, but it may have been a little like. Of course, if she felt uncomfortable, she could do whatever she wants, right? But I don't know if it really warranted the full assault of the thermos in the face. Like, it's not, he didn't actually, like, he hadn't really fully, like, touched her. I mean, I guess she was leaning on him, but that was it. Yeah.
Right,
Anyways. So, this guy. Yeah.
He's just always, around being like the perfect neighbor.
Yeah.
Helping put the lights up.
He's
helping
kind of like
do the cookies.
Flanders, but sexual.
Yeah, exactly.
Stupid, sexy Flanders.
So true.
Love that. Yeah.
There's an amazing part. I don't know if you guys saw this, but like I don't know if it's like an error or if it was supposed to be like this. But there's a moment where like Arnold Schwarzenegger, he comes home and Ted is up on the roof like, hey, look what I did. I put your lights up for you.
Yeah.
And they turn him on and he goes inside and there's all this conversation. And then it's like, it's been a minute and there's like another establishing shot of the outside of the house to show you that time has passed. And in that establishing shot, like Ted is still up on the roof. And then it goes to a shot of them like getting ready for bed. And so I was like,
He went back and kept doing it.
like he's still up there creeping on them. Yeah.
Oh, no.
That just adds a whole new layer.
Not
By the
sure
way,
about
I don't
that.
know. Well, obviously you did karate. I did karate. I don't know if you guys did, but I never got to do a belt ceremony where you have the board box that you break and the belt pops out of it. I was like, where did that come from?
The props department.
Yeah. They didn't have that at my karate place. I don't know. Yeah,
none of
I was
mine
That's
either.
pretty
Take
cool.
note, karate instructors. Step up your game.
Yeah.
I want balsa wood boxes everywhere.
So you already mentioned Jake Lloyd is the co-star with you in this,
Yes.
and so obviously we all know he goes on to be in Star Wars.
I was like, what was it like to work with somebody who murdered so many younglings?
I'd like to say I didn't see it coming, but no.
He had a dark side.
He actually got that while the last thing we filmed. I don't think we went back and did it. No, I think this was part of the reshoot. So we went back and did. The last thing at least I remember us filming was the after credits, the shawarma, as people call it now. Which that was the first time I'd ever seen anything like that.
Yeah.
Was the shawarma there. He was telling me how he was going to be Darth Vader in the next Star Wars film.
Yeah.
And first off, first I was hearing there was going to be another Star Wars film. Oh, and then he was Darth Vader. And at that point, like we were kind of ruffling each other's feathers at that point.
Okay.
And so I was just like, but I'm the sci-fi nerd. Why do you get to do it?
Yeah, you're not Darth Vader.
Come on.
It's going to be a child Darth Vader? Bullshit.
right.
Bullshit.
I don't get it.
The helmet doesn't fit a child.
No, but he went on and did that, and went on and lived his life. I tried reaching out to him on Facebook a while ago, and I got the oh yeah, I remember you. We chatted for a little bit, and then that was it.
Aw. So on set though, you guys got along okay until like.
Well, no, it wasn't like any drama or anything. It was just we were two bratty kids, and there were times we got along, there were times we weren't, as are expected with children over a however long month shoot.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
And flying across the country and sitting in hot winter clothes and 90-degree weather.
Yeah.
That parade scene, let me tell you.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like as like everyone, there's establishing shots of everybody showing up, and I'm just like, that is Summer on the Universal lot.
Yeah.
Like,
You nailed it.
Just like, and that was miserable.
Although they have pretty cool parade floats that they built just for the movie.
They do.
Like, that looked really cool. And then
there's a cop doing flips on
yeah,
one of them.
oh my God, right?
I see that. I was like, what?
I'm like, John McClane, he's here.
There's like not only one but two like stunt marching bands in this, and I was like, wow, that marching band's actually pretty good. And then I looked it up, and then it was UCLA, so then I felt horrible for like thinking that. But there was the first marching band was dressed up as Santa, and then the second one was like the Turbo Man marching band. And it was like crazy.
The ones that were dressed up as Santa were in like PVC plastic. I was just like, that's even worse.
Yeah.
Like that had to be miserable.
I was really curious what you thought about the marching guitars.
Yes, I was too. I was like, he was gonna hate this.
Because it's like
correct.
It's the Turbo Man marching band. They have their own style and traditions, as every marching band does.
That's true.
If they have an electric guitar, all the more power to them. I don't know where the amp was.
This
but
was
whatever.
this was like way before they had those in DCI, right?
Yeah, they have all that stuff now.
Yeah.
No, but just like imagine, like that was shot over, if I'm remembering correctly, weeks.
Must have been.
And it was literally all day. They go past, reset, redo.
Yeah.
Constantly, all day. So,
And you're just reacting over and over to the same thing.
Yeah. Wow. Where's my dad? Yeah.
Movie magic.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Worth it.
So yeah, we talked about how Arnold is a workaholic. He lets his kid down. He doesn't show up to karate. And then, but he kind of, they have a nice little chat, and they're playing around, and they kind of make up for it. But then we find out that she told him 2 weeks ago to buy Turbo Man, and he didn't do it.
Yeah, this is the weird part of Arnold's career that's like post Kindergarten Cop, where like this isn't necessarily an action movie. Like in today's day and age, like this could be just as easily played as like Jason Segel, like his role. Like it's not like it's like but it would probably be a John Cena. But
yes, it is like the kind of the beginning of the grand tradition of who's our toughest guy. All right, now let's emasculate him and make him funny. First it's gonna be Arnold, then it's gonna be The Rock. Now it's John Cena.
Vin Diesel.
Oh yeah, Vin Diesel. Yeah,
Tu Wong Fu.
Yeah. So he did not get Turbo Man, so he has to figure it out.
He's got to go out on Christmas Eve and deal with the likes of Chris Parnell to get the fucking Christmas toy.
Yeah, and he just tells his wife he's going to be gone for like the lie that he offers is that he just left the doll at the office.
Hey, they buy it.
Yeah.
It literally takks him all day from like 8 in the morning to all the way when the parade is.
All day.
Just like for some reason in the day, but in the evening, presumably.
Yeah.
Early evening. And so the first toy store he's in line at is when we meet Sinbad.
And when Sinbad chokes the woman.
Yeah.
Let's not forget.
He gets so angry.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough. In the IMDb trivia, our favorite source of information that may or may not be true.
It's always accurate.
Yeah. It says that Sinbad improv'd most of his lines, and I was like, oh, really? I'm so shocked. Because he's basically, all of his scenes with Arnold are him standing there basically just doing like stand-up jokes, and Arnold going like, oh, yeah, uh-huh. And then he's just like, what's the deal with male people? Or, like, how about this shopping? I don't know. It's just like stand-up lines. It's rough.
With a few Rodney King jokes in there as well.
Oh my God, yeah.
Yikes.
that ages really poorly. The,
It does.
the false call of racism,
Yes.
you know, like it's like, ugh, that doesn't help anyone.
Well,
man.
and he does actually blow up police.
Yes.
Right. He's literally the worst mailman ever. We never see him delivering any mail. We only see him dropping it, throwing it at people, pretending there's mail bombs, having real mail bombs.
And then claiming how sick the world is when he literally just blew up the police.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I had no sympathy for this guy. I have
No.
had horrible experiences with USPS, and I didn't like this character.
I do love the moment when they blow up the police and Arnold is just like, yee! What was that noise? Yee. And they're just
Yeah,
like,
Arnold's
wah, wah,
like-
wah, and they sneak off to the next scene.
Arnold's like eyes open, like
Yeah.
face in this movie happens so many times. And like the camera like zooms in on him, and his eyes are all wide. Like
Was that an
For
explosion?
people who can't see, Justin is using one finger to pull out his collar. And go, "Ooh."
Hope that old cop that's chasing me is okay.
And he's got the Acme hair. Like,
Yeah.
he's just like, whoop.
Yeah. I love that, like, yeah, they cast some guy who's like, must have been on his last day as a cop.
Yeah.
Just got one more day and I get to retire, Cindy, and come home.
That old cop, do you know who he was?
No.
It was Robert Conrad from Wild Wild West, the old TV show.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And my mom had a huge crush on him as a kid.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she was very happy to be around him on set.
That's awesome. It was funny. I liked that he had kind of like a villain that was following him around the whole
Right.
time. Other than Sinbad.
It wasn't really a villain other than a guy that he was just fucking up his life.
like constantly. Yeah. That's true.
It was more
Spilling hot
Arnold,
coffee
it was
on him,
more
yeah.
Arnold making his life miserable.
That's true.
Broke my little mirror.
Yeah, you broke my little mirror, which is maybe the funniest line in the movie to me. When Arnold backs up into the police, I was going to say helicopter, motorcycle.
He backs up into the police helicopter.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Did you guys? How did you guys watch this movie?
HBO
Ooh, nice.
Go.
I also
Library?
watched it on HBO, but on my phone.
So no one else did. Anyone else watch the extended cut?
No.
No, as usual.
I think I saw it at some point 100 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
What's extended?
There's a bunch of extra scenes. Like,
Okay.
So there's a moment. The first one comes up here. That's why I wanted to mention it, and it's probably the most interesting of them all. So in the first store, when they're running around looking for the Turbo Man doll, and they encounter Chris Parnell, which I 100% did not remember him in this
Yep.
movie, and he was hilarious.
Which allegedly Chris Parnell's first job was actually at an FAO Schwartz.
oh really?
Yeah.
God.
I hope he treated the customers the same way he does.
Laughed in their faces.
After Arnold Schwarzenegger like threatens these dudes, they're like, "Oh my God, we actually there was one here, and it was with this lady in a fur coat. Like she took it out." And I guess in the theatrical version, he runs outside and immediately sees the lady driving off in the car.
Yeah.
But in the extended version, he sees a different lady and he goes up to her, and it's Lisa Simpson herself, Yardley Smith, and they have a whole conversation where she thinks that he's trying to get her phone number, and
I did see this. Yes.
yeah, and he before he sees what's in her bag, he pays her like 3 times the amount for it, and then it ends up being the sidekick bear,
yeah.
the pink sidekick bear. Yeah, Booster.
Oh, okay. Well,
Nobody
want
likes
a
you,
booster.
Booster.
she's
Nobody
one of
wants
the
a
moms that's hitting on Phil Hartman in the beginning, but it says uncredited, so then
Yeah.
that makes sense. Her other
Yeah.
scene got cut. And so
Yeah. She has like a special credit at the end of the extended version. But
Okay.
there's a couple other extra scenes, but that's the most interesting one out of all of them.
Sounds essential.
It's worth it for four extra minutes.
So we get the Mall of America filming, which I'm sure must have been extremely difficult to close down the Mall of America after that.
I'm sure it was very easy. I'm sure it was very expensive.
Yeah. But you did go to Minnesota for some scenes.
Yeah. All the stuff that was shot at the houses.
Okay.
That was all in Minnesota. I'm trying to think what else would have been shot in Minnesota. Yeah, that's a main thing that's popping in my head. I wasn't there for the Mall of America stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, the main stuff I'm thinking of is
Okay.
that, but that also would have been just my bit that I know.
Arnold gets maced in the face by Sinbad in this one.
He does.
Which I think he would have been down for the count for a lot longer than that.
But he's able to thread the needle with an RC car instead to trip Sinbad.
But it's Schwarzenegger, of course.
Of course.
Yeah.
You can't stop him.
He's an Ubermensch.
By the way, little boy with remote was played by Marcus Toji, who is in Maniac, Patriot, and was in The Terror in this last season with all the
nice.
Japanese people. So
Yeah, he's the one who goes cool after he like knocks over Sinbad. With the,
yeah.
that was great.
I don't know why, like, at some point, it's just like, and that person, it was Stephen Miller. It's Stephen Miller. He was in this movie.
Oh yikes!
One of these days.
Yeah.
This is probably like the first time I became aware of the Mall of America and was like, I need to go there.
It looks awful.
Yeah, but when you're a kid, you're like, what?
Rides.
The world's greatest mall.
So
It's okay.
I've been there. Yeah.
I'm
It's not-
confused by what happens here. So
Okay.
they're like, okay, we have one Turbo Man to raffle.
No, they have a small shipment that came
Right.
late.
That's
Give me
right.
that ball. That ball is mine.
The ball is mine. And so the the distribution of the numbers goes horribly awry. And they just a bunch of bouncy balls get released.
The guy's like,
Because
whoa,
instead
whoa,
of
whoa,
buying a single roll of raffle tickets from Party City,
Right.
they instead decide to write numbers on bouncy
Bouncy balls.
balls.
They
Right.
ruin a bunch of their products they were going to sell.
Right. And then the bouncy balls get released and they don't say, everybody hold on, like we'll figure this out. It's now let's all murder each other for these bouncy balls because this raffle is still gonna happen, I guess.
Yeah.
They don't even know which ball is the winning ball, and
No.
yet they're like killing each other to get one that is rolled away.
Right.
It's like,
Yeah.
do you guys even know what probability is?
Yeah. And then, like Arnold Schwarzenegger is running down the stairs and like climbing through a play place and doing all these things, and it's like there was like 10,000 balls
Like
in there.
harassing a child.
Harassing a
That
child.
was the thing that got me.
Yeah.
It was like, it's a kid. Why are you laying hands on the
I
kid?
mean, the kid's also clearly fucking with him. So it's kind of like, okay.
But I was just like, why? What's happening? And then, like,
Give me that ball.
the resolution of it is like, do they do, like, what? He just gets,
I think they never show what happens.
they never show what happens, right?
Well, there's no point. He didn't get a ball. He didn't even have a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it would be funny if he got the ball and then went back up and was like, not your number.
Yeah.
You just chased a kid for no reason. You old man. You
Now
adult
here's
sicko.
now this cop needs to talk to you.
That's right.
Your name's going on a list.
By the way,
Was
I hope
it
you don't
worth
live next to a school.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I hope you like introducing yourself to your neighbors.
So we already kind of talked about the mail bomb incident, but this transpires because they end up trying to go to a radio station to get
Right.
a contest, and he threatens one mail bomb that turns out to just be a music box, and he was lying. And like now, even after that one lie to those two guys, you would like be in jail just for saying
Yes.
that. Like it's crazy, and then he does it again, and it's a real bomb.
Right. Like, yeah, there's a point in this movie. They're in a like this movie does this thing with Arnold and Sinbad's relationship where they are literally beating the shit out of each other, and then they'll be like, "Ah, man, like
Fatherhood.
Let's like fatherhood. Let's have a heart to heart." And the other thing that's terrible about this movie is that, like, so he's already missed, most of the day. Arnold's at this diner before they go to the radio station, right?
Yeah.
He's calling his son. And his son's like, "We gotta go to the thing," and and then he gets in a big fight with his kid
Yes.
over the phone. Mm-hmm. Then he decides to get drunk with the random mailman. Mm-hmm. They start just drinking, I guess, whiskey.
Yeah.
Out of a thing, and then the radio station says like, "Oh, like there's a Turbo Man," and that's when they start fighting again. Like there's a 2-minute reprieve of them just being like, "Ah, man."
Yeah, there's even a point where Sinbad's like, "Hey, man, we should work together and be
Yeah.
a team," and he's like, "Nah, bro, no."
Oh, but this is the part where we do get a view into Jake Lloyd's future, where Sinbad's talking about how he never got the toy that he wanted, and that was made him a failure, and then so that makes Arnold Schwarzenegger envision that his son is the mailman just drinking booze.
That was pretty funny.
And he's like, "Here's to you, Dad."
I remember him after that scene. I wasn't there for the scene, but he came up to me afterwards and was bragging that he got to have whiskey. And it's like, and I can't remember who, but somebody told me, it was like, no, it wasn't real whiskey.
It was flat root beer.
Or something, yeah. It was like tea, you know?
Here's
So
to you,
there's
Dad.
also a scene of you guys like roughhousing in the house. Like, how did that go?
We weren't always necessarily pulling our punches.
The rivalry begins.
Oh my God! You kicked the shit out of Darth Vader.
Okay, my powers of the Force, he ain't got nothing.
That's right. That's right.
Besides, I'm a Trekkie, so I'm automatically superior. Joking. I love them both. I just love the rivalry more. No. Yeah, I mean, it was like, you know, I mean, we were roughhousing and yeah, like I said, we weren't always pulling our punches. It was, no one got hurt. And,
Sure.
you know, it wasn't anything dramatic or
Yeah, at
sensational.
some point they cut back to you guys as well, where everyone, all the neighborhood people are around, and you guys are looking at the reindeer and playing in the snow and all this stuff. And like, this is kind of like your big scene where you give your speech about how your parents are divorced, and thus your dad is now better. And like,
That's how it works, isn't it?
yeah, and I think that you, like, you know, you did a really good job of towing the line of like being like, the dad is an asshole at this point. Like, we already don't like him, but the kid, like, it never gets to that point with your character because you're just kind of like happy-go-lucky. You're not also like, you're mentioning these things, but it doesn't seem to be malicious. You're just very like, oh yeah, la 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 la, and like, so then the bad feelings toward the dad don't get put on your character, I feel like, because you're just very like happy and smiley all the time.
So me.
Yeah.
No, I never, you know, honestly, I'm just kind of thinking about this now that you mentioned it. But I wonder how much of that was intentional where, like I was just a kid, like yes, he was doing all this stuff, but I was just so totally oblivious to it. And at the very least, he wasn't doing any harm to me.
No, yeah.
So it also reflected like, yeah, he's a bit of a sleazebag, but he's not a total asshole.
Yeah.
Right.
Can we
None of the bad stuff he did was
yeah.
ever really like towards his son at all. Yeah. And it wasn't, and it's kind of, you're saying something to Jake Lloyd that is so sad, but you're saying it in such a happy way. Yeah. Like, that is just really amusing.
Well, you know, it just kind of is dawning on me now as well. Like, I wonder if, like, it was one of those classic where the parents are trying to fight over the kid, so they're both like really, really good to the kid, and the kid becomes a spoiled brat. Like, we need to have a third one that's like 25 years later, and my character is just a total sleazeball, entitled little POS.
Aww. Well, yeah, hopefully he learns to not follow in his dad's footsteps. I think at the end when the dad pulls him away and you're like, you smell like barf or something like that you say to him or whatever.
Yeah.
So clearly
You smell like barf.
you don't approve of his shenanigans.
Do you want the story behind that line?
Sure.
So that was ad lib.
Okay.
Actually, we shot that scene like, I don't know, 5 to 10 times.
Okay.
And every single time, right before I'd get yanked, the director would shout something out that he wanted me to say, and that was the one that stuck.
Oh.
That's
awesome. Okay, so we talked about Arnold punching a reindeer in the face.
Yep. Yeah. So he goes, drinks at a diner, blows up the police at a radio station. Then
With Martin Mull there.
with Martin Mull.
I love that.
Yeah.
Him explaining, you idiots, I don't actually have the toy here. What are you thinking? That was so funny.
Roseanne, that's what I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a hilarious actor.
Then goes home, tries to steal your Turbo Man doll.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nearly burns down the house.
Yep.
I can honestly say, Arnold Schwarzenegger stole my toys.
Yeah, that's right.
The stuff with the reindeer is so funny in this movie. It was like It was like a puppet or something, right?
Yeah.
There were a few
Must
shots
have
of it.
been,
Like,
yeah.
also, it sounds like a lion when it comes out. Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
but I think the moment that I laughed the hardest at is with Phil Hartman when he's like first shows up with the reindeer. And Arnold Schwarzenegger keeps trying to like give him shit about it. Like, whoa, a reindeer? What? He's like, oh yeah, I just trying to make life fun for my kid. And then he's like, what are you going to do with it afterwards? And he's like, he just like immediately is like, well, I've been following a group of deer down at Lake Minnetonka, and I'm hoping that I let them and they accept them as one of their own. It's just the way he delivers that line. It's like so straightforward.
You expect him to say something horrible, like, "Oh, we're gonna eat it or kill it or something."
Exactly.
But, yeah.
And he's just like, "Damn it, he's the perfect neighbor."
He's the perfect, stupid, sexy Flanders.
And I was laughing so hard at that. It was great.
Yeah.
And so he punches the reindeer, and then Phil Hartman takes his wife and his kid down to they're like, you're not even coming to this parade. You can't even come. And so he decides that's fair and gets a 6-pack of beer and decides to just get drunk with this reindeer. He just gives in.
I mean, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
The establishing shots of this parade, we talked about the marching band already, but like this is like a cool parade that this is like one of the things that holds up for real right now. It's like you got Paddington, who is hot right now. We got Sonic, the Tick, Cabbage Patch. Okay, we got.
I lost my mind for the Tick. I was like, oh my god.
Hello Kitty, Ninja Turtles, Madeline, Snoopy. I was like, wow, this parade is lit. Like, it's way better than the parade in Christmas Story or whatever. Yeah.
We should ask our friend from Minnesota if that's what parades are really like there.
When they're shot on the Universal backload, I'm sure.
Is this a Minnesota accurate parade?
Yeah, Universal Backlaw at that time. I'm surprised they didn't just like, oh, bring the Fievel and the Doc Brown and the Beetlejuice and whoever else down here. Like,
Especially since we was
King
literally
Kong.
right next to the
Yeah.
clock tower.
Yeah. You guys, did we just jump over Jim Belushi in this movie?
I think we did.
Yeah.
I think we did. This is a whole nother sequence that I was like, this is in this movie?
oh, yeah.
What?
I blacked it out.
There's a musical number? Wait, huh?
He breaks the candy cane on the buff Santa.
Yeah.
There's this whole subplot of like Santa like illegal toy ring.
Yeah.
Which I don't really get, like, what it was they were doing that was illegal. So the fact that the cops came and, like, busted it up so violently, I was like, well, what exactly are you arresting them for?
Yeah, like a SWAT team shows
Is
up.
this stolen merchandise, or is it just cheap merchandise that's copyright infringing,
Yeah.
which I don't think would be handled in this manner? Okay?
Yes, but Hollywood wish it would.
Yeah. Yeah, true.
I suppose they were selling like knockoff merchandise or alternate versions of it as the real thing, and maybe people were like,
So yeah, it was copyright infringement
off.
and fraud. That's why all the police were wearing little mouse ears.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't think that all the people working in the manufacturing, even if they work as Santa elsewhere, why would they be wearing their Santa outfits while manufacturing the toys?
yeah, they work in the mall today, and then they go there and remain in their
Remain as
elf
Santas.
costumes
Yeah.
and everything. It's so weird. Yeah.
And Vern Troyer is in this scene as a stunt man, as one of the little person Santas that
Getting
gets
punched
kicked.
through the air.
Yeah.
And then there's a buff Santa.
Yeah.
And then Arnold Schwarzenegger commits another felony and imitates an officer. Says, I'm John Kimball.
This is the sloppiest bus.
They sing like the kid who Santa forgot or something like that. It's just so weird. Everyone joins in. I just thought that was a very strange.
This is another
moment.
one where there's a guy in a trampoline doing flips. This movie, they got a guy who could do flips on a trampoline, and they used him.
Yeah. Put him in as many scenes as possible. It's genius.
Let's put him in a Santa outfit. Put him in a cop outfit. Put him in a reindeer puppet.
I mean, yeah, we're basically at the big, Turbo Man moment.
Yeah, I just want to mention, too, that one of the biggest crimes of this entire film is that Phil Hartman suggests that she marinate ahi tuna in Italian salad dressing.
Oh, my God, yeah.
What the hell? I was like...
We should also check with our Minnesota friend to see if that's how it's done.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, maybe it is.
Horrible. What a waste of perfectly good ahi tuna. Oh, man.
Yeah, you're right.
Huge set piece.
Yeah, so gross. Right, so now we come to the part of the movie where the character's journey, the hero's journey, is Arnold Schwarzenegger, learning to be a better father, but he does so by sheer blind luck. It is a Deus Ex Turbo Man.
Hey, are you the guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like the guy. All right, get over here.
And in a weird holdover from Cinderella's story that I didn't expect, they're not able to recognize him, even though he has a very thin, see-through visor over his eyes.
And his voice is the same. He's like, "You're Jamie." That sounds very specifically like my dad.
His own wife can't recognize him.
He knows my name.
Yeah. It doesn't make any sense. I guess maybe in that moment you'd be like, "There's no way that's my dad."
Yeah.
Except your dad's an Austrian Superman.
That's true. You're right. No one else.
He does not blend in with the crowd.
That's right. No one else has that.
There's nobody in Minnesota like him.
Yep. You're right.
One of an odd detail just to throw in there is I love that one of Phil Hartman's nicknames, Arnold Schwarzenegger's character's name is Howie. He calls him Howitzer.
Oh my God, I never picked up on that.
So he gets thrown into the Turbo Man suit and gets thrown up on the float with Booster.
Mm-hmm.
He's supposed to pick one lucky child to get the last Turbo Man.
Special
To get like
edition,
super special
special Turbo Boy Man.
He sees his kid in the audience, and so in a huge show of nepotism, he just chooses his own child.
His own child?
Jamie.
He's like,
Jamie.
What else does he say?
Jamie, please.
we could have had Arnold on the podcast today.
Is this a Jingle All the Way soundboard?
I like when he's like this.
Put that cookie down now.
Oh God. I have a friend who's from Austria and always tries to get me to say that line.
I know you. You're Booster.
It's there's just here. This is a really good one too.
I failed as a husband, and I failed as a father.
Yikes! Oh,
We got dark there. I failed. Yeah. I mean,
Hope he kept that one on his phone.
there's basically endless things here.
Jamie.
Anyways,
So, but before the Turbo Toy can be handed over and love restored to the Schwarzenegger family, a mailman puts on a costume.
yeah, and he like knocks out the other dude's there. Like he didn't die in the freak accident
he
or
commits
whatever.
yet another felony.
I mean, like, Arnold does some questionable things in this movie, but Sinbad is like a psychotic, murdering criminal.
Yeah, how many years of prison do you think that Sinbad would have got for this movie?
All of that.
All of
years.
this. Yeah.
He actually
Before or after 9/11?
Yeah, yes.
The bad guy's name is Dementor, and his demeanor fits that.
True.
Dementor's demeanor?
Yeah. Well, Sinbad's demeanor in the movie.
That's it, I see.
Is a demented demeanor.
Yeah.
Dementor.
God.
Demented demeanor for Dementors. So
that 10 times
he
fast.
knocks out a guy, puts on his suit, zip lines in, and then fights in front of the entire town.
And they fucking love it. It's all part of the show.
And then at one point, Booster gets knocked out, and then all the kids beat the shit out of him.
Yeah, it's like a running gag that nobody gives a shit about Booster.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Poor
funny.
thing.
I forgot about it. Booster, and in the he's like in the opening scene, from the TV show, and I was like, what the fuck is that thing? And I couldn't tell whose side he was on. But then at the end, when they're like, "Here, Mr. President, we saved your kid," the Booster's like cheering. So I'm like, oh, okay, he's a good guy.
It's like a roided out snagglepuss in a golden Speedo.
And he is neon pink for whatever reason. So funny.
Yeah. And so they fight, and turns out this small Minnesota parade has made a fully functioning Turbo Man suit.
Yes. Complete with jetpack.
Jetpack, and it fires the weapons.
Yeah, it has the boomerang
Yeah.
and everything. Yeah, pretty cool.
I think they just stole it from DARPA.
The same closet that they found Johnny Five. We should do Short Circuit.
There you go.
Yeah, there was one thing that's funny, and when they're throwing him into the suit, they're just like, oh, you're the guy? And he was like, oh, thank you for coming in, at such last notice. Like, the other person, like, he does have some brain activity, so that's a great sign.
Yeah, that was hilarious.
Because so I guess part of this parade is a man to use a jetpack.
I guess.
Yep.
So yeah, eventually they save Jake Lloyd, who has been chased all the way up a high-rise building and the Christmas wire sign on top of that building. But thankfully, Arnold was able to get enough control of the jetpack to save him as he falls to his death.
Well, luckily, when he took the jetpack too high and had to fall, it was on a green screen, so so he was safe.
It looked perfect.
Yeah, just like Trump's phone call.
Nothing to change here. Yeah,
it was perfect.
How did he not get massive brain damage? When he,
I know.
His neck should be permanently
God.
done when he rams into the wall like that.
Yeah. There's a few scenes in this where people would just be dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or in prison.
Yeah.
Or both.
Yeah.
Someone gets blown up. The store manager gets trampled to death. Yeah.
So yeah, Jake Lloyd is saved so that he can
become one with the dark
side. The police officer tells Turbo Man that they could use people like him on the force.
Yep. We could use jetpacks on the force.
And Rita Wilson decides that she wants him to keep the costume and go home with him. Hey. Keep the visor on, howitzer.
So before we end the movie here, are there any other memories you have of it, or any other stories you remember?
So many. Actually, two of my favorite center around the time we were shooting the parade.
Yeah.
So, do you want the Arnold story first or the Star Trek story first?
Arnold?
Okay.
Arnold?
So this one's a bit shorter, but so etiquette on set when you're working with a big celebrity like that, you'll leave them the heck alone.
Yeah.
They come to you. And the reason for that is just because they're so used to being swarmed and what have you. It's good to be able to, at least on set, have a professional space where they can focus on their craft and what they need to do. And so, you don't go up and ask for pictures. You don't ask for autographs. You don't do anything like that. I think I finally got a photo with Arnold at the wrap party.
Okay.
That's how we did that. Which something like that is appropriate. But anyway, I'm digressing. So I'm walking by and Arnold's there, as he was between scenes, and I want to say he was wearing the Turbo Man suit, and he calls me over. I'm like, okay. He had his daughter with him. Okay, and he goes, "This is my daughter. Hi. Nice to meet you, Hug her." What? And I'm like he just meant okay, give her a hug, like be friendly, that's what he meant.
Weird,
but it's a little weird, but harmless.
Yeah.
And but it's this stern Austrian guy, and it's Arnold frickin' Schwarzenegger, who you've seen as an authority figure and beating people up your entire life. Okay, yeah, sure.
Show affection.
She's like,
She needs to feel human love.
well, she's like 4 at the time, right? Like, if you're- yeah.
I think she was closer to my
Chris
age.
Pratt's
Wife, yeah.
Oh yeah, they did get married.
Oh my
Dang.
Dang.
I hugged Chris Pratt's wife.
You sure did.
Sure did.
Way before he ever did.
Yeah,
They're first.
that's right.
Oh my god.
Okay, this is going way wrong. Really?
The headlines. We read.
Oh boy.
So yeah, what else? Anything else about this movie? Are we gonna do our rating?
I think it's time for ratings.
It just ends with a cliffhanger, basically, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. He didn't buy a present for his wife after all that.
Dun, dun.
What'd you get for me?
Yeah. She should have known better than to even ask me, honestly.
Yeah. So
Well, and he's not going to be smart enough to like. Well, I put all our effort into our child.
Oh, yeah.
no.
So what's our rating, Tyler?
Ooh, it's a great question. How? I guess we'll just go with how many fake mail bombs?
The fake ones, not the real ones.
Yeah. How many
Bomb?
fake?
You built a bomb?
Is this like a website? Oh, God.
I'm just pulling them up right as we go here.
I'm like, you really know this movie really well. Like, if you know the time
I was
code
like, wait,
still,
I saw one that said bomb.
Oh, man.
I think I'm gonna give it 5 fake mail bombs. I remembered loving this movie as a kid, and I think that rewatching it now, I almost wish that I hadn't because I had very fond memories of it, and there's definitely a lot of Sinbad's material does not age well. But, you know, I love Arnold. I love watching him in these roles, and there was still a lot of stuff to like about it. Phil Hartman was, again, like another movie that I forgot that completely happened.
Yeah. I think I'm going to go with 6 mail bombs. Fake mail bombs. This was one where, like, yeah, at the beginning of the movie, I know that like this movie's on TV a lot, and
oh god,
and people talk about it a little bit. But at the beginning of this movie, when it was first starting, I was kind of like, man, why isn't this movie like in the same conversation as like Home Alone and stuff? 'Cause it feels in the start of it, it has that, you know, it's got that classic movie feel. And you know, it starts off pretty well.
Stealing songs from Home Alone.
And then you remembered why.
Yeah, and then like then like the thing with the con men, Santa Claus, and like some weird stuff goes on in this movie, and I'm like, okay, I get it. It only goes so far. There's a reason I don't remember those scenes.
Yeah.
But that being said, I had a lot of fun, with Phil Hartman's performance throughout this. And then just a lot of the ridiculous stuff they make Arnold Schwarzenegger scream over and over again. And it's just so stupid and funny. I had a good time watching it, and I can see why it makes the perfect, like, not a movie that you're going to sit down and be like, I love Home Alone, but a movie that you will let play in the background and just enjoy.
Rap presents.
And just enjoy, because, and you hear Brian Setzer Orchestra, and you're like,
God.
cool. Another song by Brian Setzer Orchestra? Great. Cool.
Yeah, I'm also going to give it 5 fake mail bombs. There were a lot of things to like in the movie, but yeah, I think that's the Sinbad stuff is just so bad, and it really doesn't hold up. And the kind of like slapsticky violence with no consequences is like just strange and weird.
Yeah, it's like it's a real story about him trying to do right by his kid and be a better dad with like Looney Tunes stuff happening.
Yeah. And I think too, like the advantage that Arnold and Phil Hartman's characters have is that you actually see their sons.
Yes.
And you see them interact with their sons. But Sinbad, like, does he even have a son? We don't know. It could be completely fake. He could just be a complete psychopath, you know? Like,
He's like, I'm going to steal this doll and invent eBay.
yeah, I just think, like, one shot of him with any kid would have helped this character immensely. But anyways, but of course, EJ, your performance was a 10.
Yeah.
10 fake mail bombs for you.
You're a true ninja.
Oh, why, thank you.
What scene is that even from?
That was the lion.
Sorry, that's that's him being a ninja in that one terrible scene.
Okay. So, Justin, what is the next movie in this franchise
Well,
called?
believe it or not, there's another one coming up right after this, and it's called Jingle All the Way too. What?
So
Who could have guessed?
I have to admit that I did not know what we were signing up for. With
Yeah,
this,
you should
'cause
have-
I was like,
you
oh,
should have
Jingle All the
vetoed
Way.
this.
I enjoy this. And then I was looking on Apple TV, and they had a bundle, and it was like, oh, like I could get both movies. And I was like, oh, one of them was on HBO, so I don't need to do that. And I discovered that Larry the Cable Guy is in the second movie.
Yeah. I mean, when I think, you know what? Who could replace Arnold Schwarzenegger? The first person I think of.
And comedic genius Phil Hartman.
Yeah. There's only one person that combines both the strength of Arnold and the hilarity of Phil. It's Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, man.
When you say strength, do you mean strength of smell?
Strength of cigar smoke. Yeah, exactly.
So, EJ, I think you already mentioned to me that you have never seen this sequel.
No, I never saw
Were you
it.
offended that they didn't ask you back?
Well, of course. Who does not ask Wonderful Me back?
Yeah.
No,
The star of Jingle All the Way.
yes. I was totally like, Arnold was just a secondary
That's
character.
right.
No. I was actually just really confused because I had no clue it was coming out until I saw the poster in the movie theater.
Okay.
And I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Why? I think that was my big like, why? Like,
Yeah.
Okay.
it wasn't the kind of movie you naturally would
Jingle
have a
all
sequel
the
from.
why.
So, yeah, I have no idea. I guess it's just going to be another, like, completely unrelated.
I bet it'll be like an
Yeah.
updated toy of some kind.
Oh, yeah.
So like what year was the movie?
I hope that he's trying to get his kid a Larry the Cable Guy toy.
Oh God.
Mater. Life-size Mater.
Yes.
So, EJ, after this movie came out, like, what was the reaction like? Were you getting recognized, or what was life like for you?
I mean, life largely. I mean, you knew me back then. Like, okay, yeah, I guess maybe a little more than I realized, but yeah, okay. So people would talk and get around that I was in movies, but then everything would just go back to normal, and
Yeah.
I came home and went back to my regular public school, and maybe had a little more bragging rights. That was about it. And went, chores the whole bit. Which I was always a brat about.
So wait, Arnold trying to steal your Turbo Man didn't get you out of doing laundry and mowing the lawn?
Yeah.
I wish. I wish. Honestly, so basically every now and then someone would come up to me and ask for an autograph or what have you. It's all right, sure, fine, whatever. And that's pretty much what it was. Honestly, what I think is more interesting is the people who recognize me today.
Mm-hmm.
And like, I'll be sitting at a Denny's and like the waitress come, were you in a movie when you were younger? Yeah, I'm like, yeah. And then another thing I did around the same time was Boy Meets World. And I remember, I remember coming into a 7-Eleven and like, I'd had a studio that we filmed some of my projects in, or one of my projects in, and I was using that kind of as an office.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're doing posts, things get crazy, and so like I would be there for like 2 days straight, sleeping on the couch or what have you. So I walk into the 7-Eleven nearby trying to get fluids or something, food or something,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm been at this warehouse for 2 or 3 days. Like my hair's all raggled, or frazzled, my beard's overgrown, what have you. and I have someone. I'm in sweats, like you could not paint a more pathetic picture of what I look like right now. And this gal comes up to me like, "Were you in Boy Meets World?" That was 20 years ago.
Oh, wow.
How?
Yeah.
How?
Hey, now streaming on Disney Plus.
True. And so I think that kind of stuff. So,
Okay.
it's never gotten to the level where it was a problem, like where I couldn't go places or what have you,
Sure.
which I'm grateful for. Everyone's like, "Oh, I want to be the major star." I'm more after just I want what I do to be respected by my peers. And being able to eat would be nice. Which clearly I have massive problems with. But yeah, so as far as how it changed my life, not very. Especially considering I'd done stuff prior and I did stuff after.
So I think you also mentioned to me earlier that TMZ tried to like expose you at some point for something.
What?
I don't know.
It was the funniest thing. Okay. They were trying so hard to find something on me. So hard. Like, they were doing this like, where are they now?
Yeah.
Kind of things. And
I'm trying to think what it was like. The J doesn't stand for anything.
okay, so I had a booth at San Diego Comic-Con for a while.
Yeah.
And at one point, this guy in full Turbo Man cosplay.
Wow.
Really well done, actually. If you're listening, hey, dude, well done.
Yeah.
And he comes up to me, and I don't know if he recognized me or what, but or somebody had told him that I was in Jingle, and he wants a picture. I'm like, "Girl, sure, great." And I don't know if you just me, my personality, I it's very hard for me to take a normal picture. Like, I'm always like doing some sort of like weird like, "Oh, hey," or doing a face.
Yeah.
Every now and then I'll give people a straight one just because just smile. Just because they get mad at me if I don't. But and so I took a picture with him and I'm just kind of like I'm just kind of doing this like goofy like, "Hey," like and like for people who obviously this is podcast you can't see, but like I'm doing this like goofy like open mouth excited face. And it's at a con, working hard, my hair's a little blah, and I'm kind of like reaching over and pointing at him. Like, how cool is this cosplay? Well, they took that picture, took it out of context, zoomed in on my goofy-looking face, and I don't know, EJ's looking a little spacey these days.
Oh my God,
buddy, and then they mentioned my Project Nobility that I was doing at the time, and I'm like, buddy, if that is the worst thing you got on me, I mean, come on, weak. Weak.
Yeah, that's
gotta
stupid.
deal with the paparazzi. Oh man. Okay. Well, is there any other like current projects that you wanted to plug, or anywhere people can follow you?
Well, actually, I'm just a hermit now. I never leave the house.
Got it.
So it's really hard to get projects off. No. I mentioned Nobility, which is a sci-fi proof of concept we did. Sci-fi dramedy set, I think it was 800 years in the future. Okay. We were able to get an amazing cast together for that. We had Doug Jones from Star Trek and all sorts of things. We had Walter Koenig, the original Chekhov. We had Chris Judge from SG-1, Tori Higginson from Stargate Atlantis. We had Ellen Dubin from Lex and Skyrim. And I'm forgetting 2 or 3 people. James Kyson from Heroes. It was a really awesome cast that we were able to put together. We had no budget, but it's currently on Amazon. So if you want to check that out.
Sweet.
Also, I've been working up until a few months ago. I was doing post-production on a YouTube series called Retro Replay with Gosh, why am I blanking on names right now? Troy Baker and Nolan North.
Oh, nice.
Okay, you're
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the hosts from Uncharted and a gazillion other things.
Yeah, if you play video games, you know their voice.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think Nolan was in Pretty Little Liars. I think is another thing that one of his claims to fame. But yeah, they've done all sorts of things. It's, two of the premier, one of, if not the premier voice talent around right now.
Yeah.
Cool.
And they just sit around the couch cracking jokes, doing funny voices, playing retro video games.
All right.
And so I pretty much was the entire post team for that for a while. And right now I'm kind of focusing on another project, kind of on the scale of Nobility. Getting that off the ground. It's kind of too early for me to go into real deets right now. But let's just say you're going to hear whispers of it pretty soon.
Cool.
In the coming year.
Cool. We'll have to keep our eyes and ears out for it.
Yes.
Well, EJ, thank you so much for being here with us. It's been
man, it was great.
Absolute pleasure talking to you. It's been hilarious. I love all those stories, man. It's like that is amazing.
Thanks. It's been fun for me too. Thanks for inviting me, guys.
Of course. Well, before we go, Eliz, where can people reach out to us if they want to?
Yes, please email us your questions, comments, future suggestions, life stories at sequelrights@gmail.com, and find us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at sequelrights.
And please rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. The reviews mean a lot.
And I really badly want to push this one last button on the soundboard. I've been looking at it the whole time, and I just got to do it.
I'm not a pervert.
All right, you guys. And with that, I think we'll see you next week for Jingle All the Way 2. Bye.